Yeah, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Know the Ledge. As always, I'm your boy Prime Source. What's good?
What up, though, Prime? How you feeling?
Good this morning. Good this morning. Uh, gotta did some things. Saturday, I want to talk about some music, which is a good thing to do on a day like this, being that we have the new Nas album out.
Mm.
And I figured I say, my guy might want to talk about this because I hadn't seen. I think I maybe one comment from you, but haven't gotten with you to get your overall feeling or seeing anything in the world of TikTok as much from you on this here matter. So, my guy, we're gonna talk about that here this morning. You know what I mean?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right. So just out the gates, man. So I'm seeing a lot of comments about the album, and it's some varying opinions. It is some varying opinions of this record, not only on Facebook but definitely on Twitter. It's they're going real hard at it. So I haven't seen a lot of comments where people are saying um, that they love the album. Let me say that I haven't seen a whole lot that they love the album. I've seen a whole lot of either y'all don't understand this or I've seen a whole lot of it's garbage. I'm gonna be honest with you. That this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a whole lot of that, and I get some of these folks' feelings for certain reasons. But uh, how you feel about the album, man?
I don't even want to say how I feel about the album right now. I want. Let's get back to this. Let's get back to this. A whole lot of people said it was garbage. What? Tell me more. I need to hear more about that.
Well, from what I'm reading, when people are talking about that the album is garbage, I'm seeing more of one. They ain't down with first of all Hit Boy. They like you pick one of the worst music and beat makers for his style. I'm seeing a lot of Nas just don't have it no more. I'm seeing a lot of just all types of stuff. The people just not feeling this, and I don't know if it's just the fact that some people are just looking for in today's music and everything has to have radio bangers on it. Like I don't know, but this is just people's opinion.
And where is
Hanging up,
this?
hanging up,
Where is this
grandpa.
coming from?
Yeah. If you just go to Twitter alone and just type in either Magic 2 or Nas and start reading some of the comments that people have made in that search, you would be tripping. I follow a couple of guys, my guy Dane and what's the other cat's name? OTG. I had to get their names up in a minute. And they go, pretty hard hip hop wise. And you see what people are commenting under that how they feel. It's crazy. But there's a lot of people that are really not feeling this record. And I saw one of the homies yesterday. He's not in the group, but he's heavily entwined in the music scene, well, locally. He
Okay.
does a lot of promotions with a lot of our radio people that some of them you probably know more than I do of Crosstown, but you see him. He does a lot of promo, the Big Nat and all these guys. He's been at the Art of Noise and all that. It's his first joint. Yesterday, the joint was garbage. He pretty much just telling like the old man hang it up or whatever. So, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but I'm just saying.
All right. So honestly, you hear echo?
Nah, I don't hear
Oh,
echo.
okay. So honestly, I've listened to the whole album once.
Okay.
I've listened to the first half of the album almost to the end actually. I've listened to most of it a second time. Most of it a second time. But I can't say I've listened from front to back twice. The idea that people say are saying is garbage is crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy on every level of talking about music. So Nas is on his fifth album with Hit Boy, critically acclaimed for the first four.
Yeah.
And I mean, most people like the King's Disease joints more than I do. Like
Mhm.
I think they're good to very good. I think Magic is super fire.
I think Magic is better than all three of the Kings of the album.
Yeah,
That's me personally.
yeah, I'm with that. But to come back and be like, well, the fifth one is garbage, even though the first four were critically acclaimed, and you know, talking to people that love hip hop, most people hold these joints in high regard. How would it be? How would it be garbage? I don't like when people say trash, and I don't like when people say garbage, because that's just lazy to me. That's lazy a lot of times. If I say trash, I mean it's trash. I don't mean it's not as good as I wanted it to be, or I didn't like it as much as the other ones that were near in the same time frame. Same as
Hmm.
people do Jay-Z albums.
Hmm.
Jay-Z has zero trash albums or garbage albums, but you let people tell it, they be like, "Oh, uh, Holy Grail is garbage." They'll say joints are garbage or trash, and I'm like, there's no garbage work. What are you talking about? But anyway, Magic 2 is dope as far as I'm concerned. I'm not sure what people wanted from it. I'm not sure what they wanted. This is the fifth album in 3 years, and it's on the same level as the other ones. If you feel totally different about this album than you did the first four, like generally speaking,
Hmm.
I don't know what you were expecting. Like, I don't know. I'm thrown by the fact that you said uh, a lot of people said the drum was garbage, and nobody said they loved it. I got a whole TikTok full of people who love it. I got a whole TikTok full of people who love it. First listen, second listen. There are people that said they weren't feeling it, but nowhere near the level of people who were definitely on the love side of it.
Yeah. Now, I probably overstated a little bit. I did see a couple of people that did say that they love the album. I just didn't see a whole lot of it. Now, granted, a couple of the people that I did see that love the album, of course, are Nas stands. So I don't, I don't know how that fits into it.
Right. Yeah.
But I did see some people say they like it, and I saw some interesting stuff. There's a comment you talked about the amount of albums, just as the all the projects he's done with Hippo, and I'm looking at just the projects in general. There was a comment on Twitter that I really respected. Shout out to KS Smith 929. What Nas is doing right now isn't normal. Won't be fully appreciated until he retires. I can definitely stand with that. And I'm sure they will stand on that. My pretty, when I'm not gonna give my assessment until later, until in a minute. I saw another one where they talked about standout tracks in it, and to me, is a standout track. It's a couple of them, really. No matter how you feel about the whole album, because I've had albums where I might not fully enjoy the whole record, but there'll be one or two, some cases even three tracks. I'm like, damn, I'm feeling that though. Um, and one of them is Motion, and I don't know exactly what it is about that song. I think though I would have loved this to have been the intro song because it just comes out so hype with so much energy. Um, Maybach trucks, Breaking Bad, like Bryan Cranston. Like it's just sometimes albums come out with energy, after the initial intro, kind of like on Illmatic when we talk about like New York State of Mind. You know, it's the energy is on that joint is crazy. The joint he did with 50, and I saw some criticism there. 50 just got on the track to come out there and talk more than he rapped. I mean, what did y'all really expect from 50? Like, it's 50, okay? Never the most lyrical. 50 don't give a damn about nothing. 50 gonna get on, make his appearance, and move on. And so that's just, I don't know what y'all was expecting. I mean, I think it's fine. It's fine. It's Nas record. Queens in the house is fine. And then the other one, I ain't gonna say the other one, there's a couple other ones, but Pistols on your album cover.
I was
And
waiting.
immediately when I heard, I said, "Oh, I'm thinking BDP." Like I told you my reason for even buying the album as a youngster. But the things that he talked about, especially paying homage, which he does in all his albums somewhere or another, but in this song, paying homage and shouting out so many peoples, the Eric B, Rakim, the MC Shans, Boogie Down Productions. Everybody in this is it's just so much love on this on that particular song. But to me, those are really the standouts for me that I've probably listened to it back and forth about 5 times, and I've paid extra close attention to those songs.
I was waiting for Pistols on your album cover. That's my joint. That's my
Yeah,
joint.
yeah,
Automatic. But I'm like, dog, what? So you said Office Hours was fine. I like Office Hours. I think Office Hours is hard. And I think 50 got busy on that joint. I think 50 came in with the off-flow cadence. I mean offbeat cadence and dropped phrases for 8 bars. I'm like, he gave you 8 bars. What, like you said, what is it? What are you expecting from 50? Like, plus there is a change. Social media has created a change, a revisionist history of different people's skill level. Now, 50 has never been whack. 50 always been dope. And 50 can rhyme. If you're expecting 50 to be Nas, then you don't know what you're listening to. If you're expecting 50 to be Nas, you don't know what you're listening to. Yet, it's so easy for people to give opinions on stuff they may or may not understand. And I don't want to be like, oh, it's over your head, or you don't understand to people. But it's just the same people that say Tupac wasn't a good rapper are people, to me, people that be like, 50 ain't do nothing on this joint. 50 being on the track is enough. Just the fact that it's Nas and 50, that's enough. That's enough. But anyway, Urban Magic Johnson is hard. Bokeem Woodbine is hard.
You see Magic gave him a shout out.
Yep. I just saw that when you told me to go to Twitter. It just popped up in my feed.
Yeah, Magic gave him a shout out on the joint for actually, putting him in the song. Magic says on Nas' new album Magic 2, he dedicated track 7 to me called Irvin Magic Johnson. Thank you for the respect and honor of my business acumen. You're a hell of a businessman in your own right. And that is true.
Indeed. That is a fact, Jack. That is a fact.
Yeah, that is true as well. I'll tell you the one thing that I could do without on the album, and it's fine. It's just fine. But I could do without.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
You talking about a song?
Yeah.
Black Magic.
Mm-mm.
Oh, because that's the only song that I've seen people say that was their least favorite song.
And I get it.
I saw multiple people say that. I was like, damn.
It's probably near the bottom 2 of the songs that I like the most, if I'm ranking the album, the way I feel about them. Probably one Mike, one Gun. And the reason I say that, I think it's 21 Savage. And it's not because it's 21. It's not because he's not an old school artist. It has really nothing to do with that. I just don't think it fits. Like, to me, the song sounds a little off with them on it. Now, granted, I understand 21 been hot since he's been out. I understand he's in these streets right now hard with Drake on the radio. And I do understand that 21's got a new project coming out. So all this timing is perfect. I just think that even though I love how a lot of today's artists are still embracing, a lot of our older artists, our 80s and 90s artists are embracing the newer culture. Sometimes, to me, it hasn't really come off well. And I don't think it actually comes off that well on this particular song. That's just my thoughts on it. So it's probably my least favorite track on the album. Love the title.
That's not funny. That's interesting because the song One Mic, One Gun came out a long time ago. Not a long time ago, but a while ago. And when I listened to it the other day, Friday, I liked 21 Savage more on the song than I did the first time. I was listening to it. But this was as part of the whole package. I get it that it fits less, like it was a throw-in. But it all goes back to 21 Savage saying Nas wasn't relevant, and that becoming a whole conversation about 6 months ago, however long ago it was.
Mm-hmm.
which is when the song first dropped because
Yep.
Nas reached out or whatever the case was, and they made the song. So I get this being part of the project. I'm not mad at it. They could have left it off. Yeah, I'd be fine with it if it wasn't on the album, but it is, and you know, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
One thing I'd like to find out, I think it was Jerron Dennis that asked, I think it might have been on his personal page. I believe it was him. We go back up to the office hours joint. Guess he was trying to find out was Nas taking a stab at Ja Rule. And I'm not quite sure. And I kept on listening and listening and listening to it. And I was going to ask Jerron what he was talking about. But then I'm wondering is he talking about including him in the term when he's saying a bunch of Fredos, or he keep referencing Fredo, which of course was Michael Corleone's brother in the classic Godfather that portrayed the family.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they did him like they did it. They did away with him. Not quite sure. I'm gonna have to ask around about that one, but I did see that comment float out there. Could Nas have been taking a stab himself?
I seriously doubt it. There's nothing about. I mean, well, I doubt it because I don't know why it would make sense. I don't know why it would make sense. One, but aside from that, I'm like, there's nothing even antagonizing about what Nas has done in any of these last projects. There's nothing uh going at anybody like talking about.
Right.
So I'm not sure why he would just randomly choose to go at Ja Rule on a song with 50, unless he really, 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 really had a problem with Ja. And I don't see that being the
I don't
case.
see it.
So
Yeah, I don't see it either, even though it was interesting. And granted, Nas is one of those people that can keep he can be cool with this person, not worry about beef the other person got with somebody else. He can stay neutral. But he does shout out the 50, I might do my next album on G Unit. So, you know, it is
yeah,
what it is. I think overall, though, I think it's an okay album. I think when it first came on in the intro and they had the Bishop Don Juan joint and the music that was playing, I'm not gonna lie to you. I immediately knew. I was like, "Yep, there's gonna be some people off top ain't feeling it off top because they're not feeling the music behind Bishop Don Juan." It's nothing really. It's different. It's nothing hidden or banging about it. It's just got a different vibe to it. And I said, "Yep, well, there's gonna be one reason for some folks." And then things start to trickle down. But I think for me, I think a lot of people's problems is because it's going to be hard to pick at least something for the radio. I believe off this album. I'm pretty sure something will get played on the radio. I mean, it is what
yeah.
it is. But I think it's going to be hard.
Who cares?
Yeah,
Who cares? Like for real, who cares? One, who it's Nas. Who Nas don't have to make radio songs.
yeah,
Nas don't have to make radio songs. There was nothing radio off of Magic. There was the only things that were radio out of these last five projects is Ultra Black. Nothing else
right.
feels like it's made for the radio. It might get played on brunch on Sundays, might get played on the radio. The joint with Lauren might get played on the radio, but they not ain't none of this stuff made for radio. Man, this is Nas in his element. This is hip hop and it's Nas. I don't know what else people want. If you don't like this project, cool. Calling it
Straight up.
garbage or trash, all that, I'm good. I'm good without listening to opinions like that because I can't believe it. You cannot like it. I can if you don't like it, cool. Don't tell me you liked three of the last four joints, but you just didn't like this one. I because they probably all were made within the same time frame. So I don't know, man. I don't know. And I'm not here to defend Nas's run lately. And I'm definitely not on some Nas is 50, so you gotta. I don't care nothing about he 50, but he put out the album. That's the point. The album is out, regardless if he 22, 62. He put out an album, so you can either like it or not like it. But I'm not gonna give him points for being 50 and making an album. I think it's dope that he's put out five albums at this age range because nobody else has done that. Period. Nobody has nobody has been on a run. One, nobody's been on a run like this
Mm-hmm.
in history of hip hop this late in their career or this at this age.
Mm-hmm.
Either one, this late or at this age.
Mm-hmm.
also, I don't know anyone who has made an album this late or this far into their career that people argue is one of their best joints. So you can pick from the five because people, everybody's got their favorite of the five, but you can pick from the five. You might
which
not
we gonna
argue,
do.
obviously. Most people are gonna say Illmatic over everything, like
Okay.
that's like, and maybe even It Was Written. When you get to three through probably eight, 3 through 8, which is that's all good to great Nas albums. You're gonna throw two of these joints in there, most likely. It's just I don't know, man. I don't know. Opinions are opinions, though, and that's why we're here.
Yep. Interesting comment right here though, because I was something I was going to quickly touch on. This Tone Plunkett. This is a filler album. I think he's going to drop something on his birthday. Now, it is funny you said that because when I was trying to remember everything that I saw, someone else mentioned not the birthday part, but somebody on Twitter mentioned that this feels like a filler album. And I can get that for a couple of reasons. Because if you listen to a couple of the songs, which they sound kind of raw, it kind of sounds like there's a couple of songs at certain points. It kind of sounds like something you have honestly on a mixtape when you try. And the mixtape I'm talking about is a mixtape that you make when you're trying to get on. And
Mm.
and I'm fine with that. I'm always down with that. I'm fine with that. You know, then there's a couple of songs that sound a little more that they were probably done in the studio, and maybe not a lot of time was spent on. I'm fine with that too. Okay, I'm fine with all of that. But it's interesting that also he says he thinks he's going to drop something for his birthday. Nas has already said that he's still feeling good. He's experiencing some new things. He's feeling good, so that leads us to believe that there's more music coming. And then I don't know how credible the source is, but there was also a source in one of the hip hop circles on Twitter that says that they are actually making the next album right now. So this is
I
going to be
mean,
interesting.
he alluded to it in the album. He alluded to it on Magic too. He
Okay,
said he'd have I don't know if he said by the time you hear this, we'll be halfway done with another one or
another
something
one.
to that
Yep,
effect.
yep. So interesting enough. Um, So yeah, so overall, man, we're gonna. You mentioned as far as top nines albums.
Yep.
Um, so we're gonna get in, pick our personal top five. And when I say top five, I mean your favorite five, the five that you like the best, right? And because I know we're gonna get a whole lot of no, this is over that. And I know you've had that discussion before.
Yeah.
Um, and here's a comment here. I low key got It Was Written over Illmatic, which has been a discussion for a lot of people. I respect it.
We talked about this like a few years ago.
Yeah, we did. We did. But getting to Nas, if you were looking at Nas's albums, if you could pick 5 albums, and a matter of fact, you know how we do it here, we extra. So we'll give you 5 albums, and I'm gonna give you a 6 man. Um, who would you go for your ears?
Mm, well, got to go the obvious in no particular order, right? No
Okay.
particular order. Got to go to obvious, Illmatic. That's automatic. And I saw the comment. Yeah, well, like you said, some people say It Was Written is better than Illmatic. I I've heard that conversation, and I brought that to people's attention, on TikTok, and most of those people were like, "I ain't never heard nobody say that before." I'm like, I've had multiple conversations where a number of people said that. However, if we said greatest hip hop albums of all time, I don't believe that any of those people that say that, including whoever just said it, is going to say, let's go Only Built for Cuban Links, The Chronic, It Was Written. I ain't never heard that. I've never heard that. So I feel like it's people just being like, let me be a little different. I actually, the same, the same as people who I'm not gonna do Big Boy and Andre. The same as people who say, "Yo, Malik B was better than Black Thought." It's an opinion. It's an opinion. I even get the opinion to an extent because you'd be like, "Oh, this person overlooked, but they dope, they crazy." And Black Thought, he just I can get the opinion. You're not gonna say that. You're not gonna make a list and pick Malik B over Black Thought. Rest in peace, Malik B. You're not going to do that. The same way you're not going to be like it was written over Illmatic. I don't care how many times people say it. Don't matter. But anyway, Illmatic, it was written. For me, personally, Life is Good is like that for me. I love that album.
Mm-hmm.
Love that album. Love that album. Stillmatic.
Mm.
And I'm going Magic. I'm going Magic.
Man, let me tell you what's crazy. So what's your sixth man?
Oh, Hip Hop Is Dead, maybe? The
Okay.
Lost Tapes? Maybe the Lost Tapes?
The first one or the second one?
The first one.
Okay. So we so similar on this joint. No particular order. It was written. Illmatic. Life is Good. Magic. One difference, and it's a reason she probably could think of why. I'm taking I Am. So I love his first three. So I'm taking I Am.
I know why. I know why.
Why is that?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You say it.
Favor for a favor puts it over the top for me. Shout out Scarface, bro. Y'all sleep. We never talk about. So we don't have to talk about being one of the greatest songs ever, but we're talking about, one of the hardest songs ever, I think, from Nas, like that nobody talks about. It's on a Nas album. People always forget Scarface coming on Favor for a Favor until you play it. Like, oh yeah. That joint is hard. So if you pair that with Hate Me Now, as it is, which became some sort of an anthem. Could you imagine if TikTok was out when Hate Me Now came out?
Bruh, that's real. That's real. That's real.
Can you imagine like what we would be seeing on social media? And then of course,
hey Brian, we might have to make that a thing, Brian. We might have to do that.
Might have to do it. Might have to do
it.
And yeah, you got my mind. You got the wheels turning a little bit this morning. Now, yeah, I'm not thinking on that today. And then of course, yeah, I'm gonna go with Stillmatic as the sixth man, probably, because I just got yourself a gun and one mic on it, like, whew. But I love that you slid in the Lost Tapes, the first one, because just as I mentioned that Favor for a Favor is a fire joint.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Blaze of 50. To me, everything about Blaze of 50, from the production to the lyrical storytelling, is fire. Like, that could have been, forget the Lost Tapes, that should have been on one of these albums. I'm sorry. I'm looking at these three albums. I think the way he was weaving those crazy stories, especially I Gave You Power, I would have loved to see a Blaze of 50 on It Was Written. If you look at how that album laid out the whole tone of it, all the way down to on that album, what was my Watch Them Knicks? Like, I think that song fits It Was Written perfectly.
I mean, No Ideas Original was right before Blaze of 50 on the Lost Tape. So that's a tough pair right there. That's a tough back-to-back joint.
Yeah. Definitely got to write that down and bring it up down the line whenever we do some joints on like we were telling Dan. We're going to talk storytellers one day. Talk about some stories. And that Blaze of 50 is something different.
Yeah.
To this day. So there it is. My last thoughts on the overall album, though, I do want to bring this up with as far as the Magic 2, is the fact that I could critique it. Of course, it's not a classic. Um, like we talk about Illmatic, and I always told you I don't have any critique at all, other than the fact that if there was one, it was how short it was. But as you brought up, Illmatic, did it need to be any longer? Like that could be like the smallest of debates. Did it need to be any longer? Magic 2 is only 32 minutes. You can get in, you can get out. So, and I'm not saying that has to be any longer. Like I say, it's another album coming, but it's a pretty short album. Definitely his shortest to date.
I don't know how long Magic is. It's not much longer than that, though.
True. I have to look that up.
I'm
You got any
looking.
final thoughts on the Nas joint?
The joint's dope. I got no problem with it. Actually, Magic is 29 minutes.
Oh well, I stand to be corrected. Okay,
That's
there it is.
I didn't realize it was that short.
I don't know much as I like the album. I'm thinking in my mind, I'm thinking it's at least 40. I'm
Yeah,
giving
that's
it
what I was thinking. I thought it was gonna be like
about
38, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
That joint is 29 minutes. Goodness gracious.
Good
Yeah,
look.
yeah. I'm listening to both them joints back to back today. That's
Oh
what
yeah.
I'm doing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I can't really give a fair rating. A fair rating. I need to listen to it a few more times to really give a fair rating. But
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the 8 range is not out the question. I feel like around the 8 range, and just in and thinking about it, what I've heard and what I've listened to more than one time. And anybody that said Nas, did people actually say Nas lost it, or you were just
Yeah, there was a comment in there saying that Nas lost it.
please?
Yep. And I'm trying to figure out where. Like, what are you talking
I
about?
would love to know what people mean when they say stuff like that. Fine, even Nas's albums that you might think are not as good are not because of Nas's rapping ability or skill on a song.
Right. Yeah, because I feel look, you want some strong he lyrically, he's got some strong performances on his album. I think
Yeah,
man, what was I thinking? Shoot. What this really means, we didn't talk about that. On that what this really means, Joyce. If he's not lyrically at his best as far as this album on that song, then this might be one or two other candidates. But what this really means, he just was spitting flames, bro. Like, so I don't know. I can't roll with him on that one either.
people be wilding. Everybody got a hot take. Everybody got a hot take the day after, day of. I can't lie. I had a hot take on the Kendrick joint. I had a hot. Not it wasn't really a hot take. It was obvious probably to some people that joint was gonna win a Grammy. Like I said, that joint was gonna win a Grammy after one listen, same day as I listened to it. And actually, to be fair, the day after I listened to Magic one time, I said, "Yo, if somebody wanted to tell me this joint was a classic out the gate, I would not argue with them." And I would never say that about an album after one listen, but I would not argue with them on that, on Magic, the first joint.
Strong list. That's a strong list right there. I don't hear really people talk about the N album. And as far as one of their top 5 albums, but it's everybody has their own opinion. I respect it.
Who said that? Who said that?
I'm going through the joint right now. This was what's crazy is it's not telling me. So it's not showing up over here who it is. So it may be somebody comment. Now it says a Facebook post. So obviously I'm blind.
Don't worry about it. It ain't that source.
Or it just hadn't come up on my scrolling through. Let me see. Oh, it was Tone.
Okay.
Yeah. Word up. We got some we got a Street
Bird
Disciples
Gang.
in there.
Bird Gang.
Okay, we got Street Disciples in. Indeed. And I see y'all got the comments about the storytelling. Down the road, we are going to have either a segment or episode about storytellers. And I agree with them. The comments is up there. So y'all make sure we'll let y'all know when that happens and goes down for that. Only other thing I got, Source, man, is I know I didn't tell you we was going to talk about this because I don't even know if you've seen it, right? But did you get a chance to check the Cypress Hill Tiny Desk joint?
Yeah. I made a whole joke about it, actually. Not about that, but using that. That was the thing that led me to make a video. Yes.
Okay, I missed the video. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I just wanted to shout them out, and mainly because it's funny with them coming up with the Tiny Desk joint. We just hit the 30th anniversary of their second album, Black Sunday. So I don't know how many Cypress Hill fans we have out there. I always thought they were pretty dope. I kind of put them in line for when we talk about albums. Like I think we were talking to Dan, and or was it when G? It might be when Big G was on. We were talking about like Public Enemy, and I said I got to a certain amount of albums I didn't listen as much anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I went hard for their first three. The Cypress Hill self-titled album, the Black Sunday album, and the Temples of Boom.
Boom.
Yeah, Temples of Boom album. And I did eventually get there. What was the fourth album? It was called Four. I think the first one was called.
Nice. That's nice, Crown. Let me point. That's nice. I like the visual there. I like the whole visual.
Oh, I appreciate it. Just something I do real quick, But yeah. And so I just wanted to show them some love, man. And what I liked the most about the Tiny Desk joint with them was the history on some of the stuff. Like we actually got a nice little interview.
Absolutely.
And, getting those facts about how they got when they were on tour and Sony pulled them off to go do something else, and folks were thinking for a minute. Some folks were actually thinking they were from New York and initially, and not Cali. Nice little story behind that. So I don't think they shouldn't be mentioned as the ghosts, of course, but I was in hip hop circles. I don't hear people talk about Cypress Hill as much as I think they should.
Yeah.
But Billboard put him at 17. We were talking about that last week. So for me, without scrutinizing the list, to me, that's between 17 to 20. It's probably a fair range, I would guess.
I'm not mad at that. And yeah, that's what I was gonna mention. I loved the behind the scenes stuff that Be Real was sharing and the details. That's the stuff that I love from Versus. We talked about it before when Versus was smaller and it was more intimate. People would give you them gems, and there wasn't a lot of places that you were gonna get those stories or those conversations outside of that. Even in interviews, some people are guarded in interviews, generally speaking, but they might go on Versus and be, oh man, I remember the time, blah blah blah, and you get some stories that they've never told before or they wouldn't necessarily tell outside of this setting. So yeah, but the Cypress Hill joint was dope. I did mention that. That Cypress Hill joint was dope. And I think their place in hip hop, it kind of gets overlooked by some people because they started to appeal to I don't know if it's the alt rock. I don't know what it's really called.
Mm-hmm.
But the rock audience, they even made the joint, the Rap Superstar, remade it as Rock Superstar, and they had the split joint. And yeah, they straight mosh pit type fellas, type rap.
Yeah, if you go back and look at a lot of the old, not even old because stuff when they're touring now, when you go back and look at the type of concerts that they're able to get on, it's not always a straight hip hop concert. It could be an alternative type concert that they get in, and you look in the crowd, and a lot of times in the crowd, you can tell by who's mouthing the words or who's just jumping around or whatever, bumping each other. Kind of the age groups. You might go to one of those, alternative concerts, and you might see some youngins and they're out on spring break or something in their 20s, saying in their early 20s, jumping around, might not know the words other than the chorus they keep reciting. Then you'll see some folks that might be a little bit older that's hanging out there and, might be in their 40s, just actually singing some of the stuff word for word. So yeah, they were definitely able to grasp a pretty wide audience, as well as some of the other people that we give love to. You mentioned Ice-T. I mean, Ice-T did the same thing, changed it up and had with a group called Body Count, so.
Ice-T still be bussing like he a 25-year-old rapper, yo,
Slow.
live.
I'm gonna trigger lump.
You saw the joint recently?
Which you talk was it the with Norina?
No, not the interview. Him,
You talk
him
when he did on
on
the show.
stage in New
Say
York.
yeah.
I was like, what is happening right now? This man like 65 out here buzzing.
Bulletproof.
I love
Die
it.
harder than Bruce Willis. Hey, shout out to Bruce, man. All the stuff we know his health ain't been the best, man. And we talking what he's going through, but you think about it in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Bruce had been in some of the most memorable hip hop lyrics out there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I give more stuff some props to Bruce Willis. You know what I'm saying? I die harder than Bruce Willis. Like it's crazy. I ain't gonna lie. When they did the joint the other day, tribute joint, and he was on there, I ain't gonna lie. In my mind, I was kind of saying, is he gonna say that line? Or because you can interpret a couple of ways, but he said it. So but shout out to him, man. Shout out to him. And I was reminded here recently listening to a couple of Ice Cube interviews here recently. And going back and hitting those West Side Connection joints.
Right.
And I was heavily reminded of the beef between these two. You know, so I'm like,
between Ice Cube and Be Real.
Well, Ice Cube and Be Real. So you remember on the song, it was a couple of songs, and they were just like
King of the Hills, right?
F Cypress Hill, you know, and then, you know, so I'm like, he beefing with everybody. Like Cube and had beef with him and Mac 10 ain't gonna never be friends no more. I'm like,
nope.
This is real. Like,
real life. You hate to see it. You hate to see it.
But shout out Cypress Hill, man. I thoroughly and I really enjoyed that out of Tiny Desk, and it was pretty dope. So, and shout out to the album because once I realized the day that I realized it was the 30th anniversary, you know, I pulled up and rolled to it. So, a lot of memorable joints on there.
Word.
All right, and that is all that I got. You got anything else?
Nah, man. Nah. You know, account suspended again. Stay suspended. They'll be back this afternoon. After like 5:00, something like that. But
okay,
stay suspended. Been down for a week, so it's all good. It's not all good. I hate it. It's terrible, but it is what it is. Got to keep moving.
No doubt, no doubt. Appreciate y'all checking us out. If you haven't heard the Magic 2 album by Nas yet, go grab it or stream it, I should say. I don't know how many people buying albums no more, but go ahead and stream it. If you've heard it already, give it another listen or two and form a real opinion on it if you can. And hey, if you was a fan of Cypress Hill and you ain't heard any of their music in a while, especially Black Sunday, y'all go check that out. All right.
Yes, sir.
Always, I'm your boy Prime. That's the homie source. We're gonna catch y'all another time. Know the ledge.
Cheers.